I'm Amy Morgan, the feature writer for the Marriage Initiative, and I am just delighted to introduce you to Ed and Betty Coda. This couple moved to Hawaii a few years after their 1969 wedding and have been involved in marriage mentorship and workshops since the early 1970s, including their Living Sacred Sexuality course they developed. Their recently revised Passionate Parents, Passionate Couple book published in 2010. They have six children and 9 grandchildren. I almost cut off some of your grandkids there. Well, aloha, Ed and Betty. Thank you so much for being here.
Aloha. Thanks for saying that and introducing us that way. We really appreciate it.
Well, I just love how you share your story on your website at edandbetty.com. You have your timeline with the pictures, your 4-year courtship and your 56-year marriage. The two of you are you're like magnets. Everybody always wants to talk to you and find out all your secrets that have kept you strong for 56 years. I know. Tell us a little bit about that. I've had the privilege of getting to see it, but not everyone of our marriage champions has.
Yes, we definitely have, a lot of people think that relationships are automatic, that you get to a point where everything's working and you just stay that way and that's how life goes on. And we found out very early on that all relationships are either growing or dying. There is no standing still. And we actually had our son on a weekend that we presented, and he was shocked to hear that we have to still work at our marriage when we were presenting, and he thought he was just about where he wanted to be, and he was just shaken into reality when we said no, we have to keep going all the time. And
that started for us in 1976 actually, and then that's when we made kind of like a commitment after we received that beautiful weekend of the marriage encounter at that time. And then we made a commitment that every year we would do something to help ourselves grow. And sometimes that was couple things, and sometimes it was maybe individual things, but we'd always do it together because we found out if just one of us went and we tried to share that, it didn't work out as well. So we both had to experience it.
Right. And I think that that's what the thing, we realize if we didn't put ourselves in a position where we could learn something that we didn't know, that we wouldn't really be growing.
Right.
And that's what the whole premise was.
I know. And I just think, oh my gosh, that was so many years ago. And then we're still doing that today. We just went to a renewal kind of thing last week, and that's just keeps us going. So we love it. What we do is we really delve into it, we really pay attention, and then we take into our lives the things that work for us. Then we practice them, and if it works, then we keep it up. Kind of like the journaling that we do, and so many other things that we've learned along the way.
Oh, well, I want to talk about your journal, but first let's just go back just a smidge. You started with the marriage encounter weekend, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Marriage encounter was fabulous, and I think the really core ingredient to marriage encounter was understanding feelings and how feelings really reveal the person. And I think shortly after that, we were on the North Shore watching a beautiful sunset after spending a gorgeous day at the beach. And we were sitting there and we were just connected and watching the sun dip down into the ocean. And I was feeling this glorious happiness and joy. And I look at Betty and she's like,
I got tears running down my cheek.
And I was like, what's up? And she said, for some reason, this reminded me of the day my dad died.
Yeah.
And she was feeling this melancholy sadness. And I was like, at first it was like a downer. Then I realized, oh my gosh, if she didn't tell me how she was really feeling, I would have assumed we were just both there together. But by telling me how she felt, I knew her. And I thought of her dad too. And then we had this beautiful connection that most people would never have if they just didn't share their feelings.
I love that. That is so inspirational. You guys are going to make me cry. And I hope that you are feeling and seeing this love and this connection that the Dakotas have because they learned so long ago to share their feelings. And you put something into practice that, because that was something you kind of had to work on a little bit, not anymore. But you had to work on it. And tell our marriage champions how you live that out. You have a practice that you do every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Here's our book.
Yeah.
These are our current notebooks, and we
Almost
dated
at
at the
the end
top,
of them.
and we go through every single day, and we write a love letter to each other. That's the beauty of it. It's not just a journal
Right.
and putting down my own thoughts, but we write a love letter either on a prescribed question or on a one that we make up. But we
something that
always,
pertains to what's going on in our life right now. So that's what we love to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
so,
we always add our feelings. That's
Right.
that's the
That's
key.
the key. And describing our feelings, as we say, in loving detail. And that's maybe what color it brings up for us, what smell or taste it might recall. One of the most powerful things is to say what's going on in my body right now. Another way is to remember a past experience that we both shared. And then, do you feel like you did when we were on this
roller
trip?
coaster.
Oh yeah, roller coaster. Very good one.
We just celebrated our 56th wedding anniversary, and we wrote, how do I feel about our 56th anniversary? And so I put a bunch of stuff in. I'll just quickly say though, but then I said, but thinking of watching your smile as you came down the aisle, beaming from under your veil, I felt such a joy burst. It was simply happening beyond whatever I deserved. It would be a 10 on a scale of 10, a true kaleidoscope of colors, and mostly light and airy, not really deep colors, but just this beautiful sight of happiness and warmth and butterflies and trees. Anyway, that's how we go about it. It's all the words that make it come real or alive inside us at that moment.
Wow. I think that there are a lot of marriage champions who are like, wow. You could go a long time knowing when you know that your spouse feels that way about you. That's just really special. And sometimes, like you said, you come up with your own question that you answer like that. And sometimes I think the Marriage Encounter still will email you a prompt, right? That's something our marriage champions could recommend to others, that they could sign up and get a prompt just in their email if they need some help thinking of some questions.
Right,
yes, we get one every day.
Yeah, we could help you with that too, to guide people to that. That's really awesome as well.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you started then kind of getting involved with the ministry and becoming mentors. So let's keep talking about your journey.
Okay. So yeah, actually we're still involved with Marriage Encounter, and we're going to be presenting another weekend in November here in Hawaii. So that will be good for us and for the people that get to come. So that'd be wonderful.
One of the beauties of Marriage Encounter is the couples presenting actually go through the experience with the couples that they're presenting to.
Right.
So we actually get to renew our own relationship at the same time.
But then there's so many other things that we've done. One of the keys for us is that our kids went to a school that had parenting classes. Wow. And so we went to the parenting classes, and with 6 children, that was kind of overwhelming. Many times even that can be overwhelming today, now that our children, some of them have families of their own, but it's the most wonderful overwhelm we've ever experienced. So
I think that one of the amazing things about learning real parenting, we were dutiful parents, making lunches for the kids, getting their clothes washed and cleaned, and having everything ready for them when they got up, and making sure they could get to school on time and taking them and everything. And we were wiped out. It was with 6 kids.
Before the day even started.
I can't even imagine. I stopped at 2.
And then within 2 months of taking the first class, we were in bed and we heard scurrying going on in the house. And the next thing we knew, we got a knock on the door and one of the kids yelled, 10-minute warning to take us to school. And we rolled over and high-fived each other. And we were like, oh my gosh, we didn't do anything. They had their own clothes, their own lunches. They were packed. They were ready to go. And all we did is laid in bed and got a 10-minute warning to take them.
Yeah.
That was
I know.
huge win. It was so different.
Oh, I love that. Well,
Yeah.
since you brought up parenting, I do want to come back to some of your other classes, but since you brought up parenting, you, as you have such a beautiful love story and such a great example for the people that come to your workshops and the couples you mentor, you also have such a beautiful example with your family and your grown children and grandchildren. And you wrote, people kept asking you, just like they ask you about your marriage, things and your recommendations. They asked you about how you did this with your family. So you put that into your Passionate Parents, Passionate Couple book that published in 2010, but you have recently revised. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Let's talk about that. We can circle back to some of your other things.
Okay. I think that what makes our book unique is that it covers couple relationship and parenting. And I think some books do one or the other. Mm-hmm. And so we've combined that because a lot of people have this divide and conquer attitude, like I'll take the kids and you do what you want to do, and then you take the kids and I'll do what I want to do. And what we found is that we didn't want that to happen in our family. We really want the kids to see us together. And that's what, I think makes ours a little bit more unique. Because what, honey?
Well,
do you want to say something?
No, we created it like a workbook as well. We actually teach people how to do the journaling and how to go through what we have done virtually every day for our entire lives.
Right.
And so it's
and some of the other experiences that we've had, like just saying that thing about, incorporating into our life the things that worked. Mm-hmm. And we put all of that in here. So some people say, it's the instruction manual always people wish they had. And I don't know, we just love even reading about it ourselves because we forget sometimes some of the stories that we share. And like the boogeyman. So we lived in a kind of a dark neighborhood that didn't have street lights and a long road out to our mailbox. So some of the things that kept us sane were laughing at ourselves and our children. And so we'd send the kid out to get the mail, and then
as they're walking darkly out, we go, say hi to the boogeyman for us. As if we would say it out loud. And then we would just be cracking up. And what would have happened if we had done that?
Said it out loud? Well, we wouldn't have gotten anybody to get the mail.
Oh, well, and just as you're laughing together now, and you talk about using humor and laughter, because the first 3, you were telling me the first 3 chapters are about that couple first parenting. Right. Can you explain what that is to our marriage champions who may not understand that? But that's been a real foundation for y'all.
Yes, we coined it couple first parenting, and it has several different aspects, but one of them is that we're adults and we, as best as we can, know that we have feelings and try to express them to each other. And so we said, well, let's make sure that if there's something we want for our family, we have to be able to do it ourselves. Yeah. So one of the first things was yelling. We had a lot of yelling going on and kids fighting and
yelling.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. And we announced this at a family meeting that we're no longer going to yell. We're going to be nice. And anyway, within a matter of hours or a day. Stop yelling when everyone was yelling. And it's like, oh, well,
Yeah,
it's not quite as easy as we thought.
Right. So we'll keep practicing that one, right? And then the second aspect of couple first parenting is, what is it? I just drew a blank.
You drew a blank. Well, that we could do.
Work on our relationship first.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that if
that whatever we wanted in our parenting or whatever we did in parenting had to also enhance our couple relationship.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't, bring us down in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really big because, just like Betty said, divide and conquer wasn't enhancing our relationship. It was sending one of us into the lion's den while the other one went out and did something. And then the kids could start playing the game of, well, mommy said so, or daddy said so. And, if you're not together on it, it can really be destructive. So
they were dividing and conquering you.
That's exactly right. They know all the games.
Yeah. But, we're so blessed because we have our children who are married, 4 of them, 3 of them have our grandchildren. And we see them doing these things in their parenting as well. So it's been such a great hand-me-off that we've been able to do. And then when we get to be with our grandchildren, we just get to spoil them. We don't have to teach any lessons or anything. We just get to enjoy.
Oh, and you had a family day too. That was one thing you instituted, was a family meeting and a family day. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because I think that was one of your key points that you share with, that our marriage champions should know.
Yeah, it's much harder, I'm sure, today, but we actually, it's harder, and yet it's not impossible, because one of the things that we did is we wanted to have a family meeting, and we did that once a week, and that's how it all started. Is we would have a family meeting and really clear the air and get everything organized and develop chore charts and do all the things we needed to do as a family to make things work, and even including what's not working and what do we need to change.
And giving kids a chance to share difficult things that are going on in their lives, and then everybody had empathy for them, and it was just such a beautiful time together. Sometimes we'd have a question, sometimes we just say, what's going on in your life. Sometimes we would say things like, what's the best quality of the person sitting to your right? And we'd go around the room and everybody got to share that. So it was such a great place to clear the air.
But then we decided we wanted to spend a day together. And in the beginning, we were just going to experiment. And we decided to put up some money so that we could really do something like tourists would do if they came to Hawaii. And it's ironic because we live here and we take much for granted. But then we started doing things like going on tours and going to Polynesian Cultural Center, and the things that we have readily available but never do because we live here.
Yeah.
And we can go to the beach for free. That was a good one.
Yeah. But we allowed the kids to divide up into teams of 2 and come up with a idea for the day. And it was really hilarious because the only rule was whatever the team came up with, you had to pretend that you wanted to do it. No groaning or yes.
Yes, that helped all the way around. So one time Tony and Molly came up with the idea of going to play kickball, and we all kind of muffled our groans, and so we bought bases and got a nice ball and went to a park and ended up having a barbecue there, and then playing kickball with each other, and other people that were at the park started joining in with us, and it turned out to be a fabulous day. It was wonderful.
Well, that story just illustrates how once people would be able to talk in your family, you could change a negative to a positive, and that you were so wanting to affirm things. And another one of your catchphrases I loved is, children are a resource, not a burden, that you told me. And that again illustrates that. You had another really cute story about one of your littlest grandchildren being a resource. Would you like to share that?
Yeah.
Not that this was a few years ago, but he just graduated from high school.
It was quite some time ago then.
Yeah,
Tell the story.
Elijah was living with us, and he was 15 months old, and every day he wanted to turn the blender on when I made a smoothie in the morning. And so one day I was in a hurry, and I was late actually, and I was rushing to get ready, and Elijah wasn't there, so I was thinking, okay, I'll just get it all done. And all of a sudden, the tug on the leg, I looked back, oh, Elijah here, and I put him up on the counter. Go ahead, turn on the blender. And instead of turning on, he just points past the blender. And I'm like, Elijah, I'm in a hurry, honey. Please turn on the blender. And he just points again past the blender. So I look over on the stove where he was pointing, and the black top to the blender had blended in with the stove. And I looked at oh my God, Elijah, I just picked him up, and you were such a resource. I can't believe
everywhere. And I love how you said your line to Elijah. It was,
you are such a resource. Absolutely. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, let's go back now to because you taught a lot of different courses, and you created one. So do you want to start chronologically? You started with Marriage Encounter, and then you did some other courses too.
So
Celebrate Love.
We went to the Celebrate Love experience, and that has turned into the Evermore in Love group right now. And that made such a profound difference in our lives, because so many things have, during that time we're talking about, there's no, I guess just not enjoying and focusing on our masculinity and femininity. And that was such a big change in our life. It brought us to many other things that happened after that. But
well, including theology of the body, which
exactly
was incorporated into those experiences on how to live it out in your daily life.
Yeah,
that was huge. So I think that we experienced.
I mean, even things like, I think even other people have maybe shared this, that trying to raise your boys and girls the same, and that we found out, nope, that doesn't work. Somebody said, if you gave a boy a doll, it would turn into a football. And, it's just like, girls and boys are different, and masculinity and femininity needs to be rejoiced in and loved, because, our complementarity in masculinity and femininity is so important that sometimes it can be irritating. The Ed being so, like, if he's on his computer, don't talk, because it's not happening. You're not going to be able to communicate with him right then. He's focused, and that's so masculine, and I love it. And then the things that irritate Ed about me are my multitasking and maybe changing the subject in the middle of a conversation. And what?
But you have a really beautiful story that illustrates how, once you understood some of the differences just in how people are wired, that, the masculine and the feminine, and how once you realize that, you can kind of overcome the irritation and learn to appreciate. It was, you were walking on the Waikiki beach. Ed, will you start talking about that? That was such a lovely story.
I was in a very pointed conversation, sharing some deep inward reflection with Betty, and all of a sudden she says,
"Look at that flower."
And I was like, what? I mean, it's like totally deflating at the moment, like, you're not listening. But I looked at the flower, and it was truly unique. I mean, we lived in Hawaii all these years, but it was the most unique, beautiful flower that I had ever seen. And it just softened my heart for just a moment. And I said, Betty, you really put the color in my life. I would just be walking along in black and white, and you make me look around to see the world as it really is with all the color.
Yeah.
And it just, that moment was again just a connection moment beyond anything, but it had to do with her ability to listen, because she got me right back into the story and into what I was sharing. And we continued walking along, but oh my goodness, it's just so amazing how God created us to complement each other.
Yeah. And that could have really gone south, and that you guys could have ended up mad in an argument. But instead, because you had understood and could recognize the strengths of each other, you
Right.
could, and I just love that. I love that. Now you created a course, right? Because you were teaching and you were getting certified to do the Celebrate Love, but then decided that it would be more applicable in Hawaii for the as enrichment for already married couples, right?
Right.
Yes, exactly. And
And like we said, we just incorporated so many things into that. So yeah, we love it. It's a lot of theology of the body and how to make that real in your life. I think that's one of the beautiful things about it.
yes.
What's the course?
Yes, living sacred sexuality. Living sacred sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's so much misunderstanding in our world today about sex and the whole thing of porn and all the stuff that's just destroying so many people. It's so sad to see people being enticed into what they think is something exciting, and do whatever you need to do to be excited. And I'm telling you, when we caught on to love versus lust and purity of heart and
expressing feelings to each other before we're going to make love. So it makes it more a love making than intercourse. It's just so much more communication and connection.
Exactly.
And spiritual and holy at the same time, which, I think so many people have this thing, don't bring God into the bedroom or something like that,
God's already there.
Yeah, he's there, definitely. And so we have some beautiful things in our bedroom to help us remember that. And then just being able to share with each other what we want to say with each other with our bodies.
Yeah, and then, recently we also started working with youth. We realized that the world is getting to young people so quickly now with the internet and access to the horrible stuff they can click on right away. And so we decided we needed to share our message with younger people as well. So we found it's called Oni Pa'a in Hawaii, but it's a Heritage Keepers program that works with kids down to the 6th grade level even
5th, I think. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, really share the story of what works.
Saving sex for marriage is really the message that we want to instill, because we were so blessed to do that for ourselves. We met with a couple last night that we mentored, and we encouraged this thought in them, and then to see them now with their 3 children and how impactful they are on us now to be our mentors as they carry this on in their lives, and being able to share with young people that it really works.
Yeah,
it keeps life simple and beautiful.
A priest, when I was in the sophomore year of high school, said one day in religion class, after being frustrated by all these questions that we had, he said, "Men, you only get one chance in life to do things perfectly the first time. Why don't you go home and make a list?" And that just struck me in the heart. I literally can picture myself sitting at my desk, looking out at the yard and writing down things like, get married, explore priesthood, graduate from high school. I wasn't doing too well, go to college. But then as I thought about marriage, the thought of I only have my virginity once in my lifetime, and I wrote down, save my virginity for my future wife, and that it would be the best gift I could ever give her. And after I met Betty, now we're 3 years later, things were really going well between us. And one night after a particularly enjoyable date, on my way home, something just struck my heart that I really love this person and I don't want to mess it up. I want it to be real. And for some reason, that whole message of saving my virginity for marriage had me call her the next day, Betty, and say, I have to talk to you. And I was fumbling around. I couldn't sleep. I thought she was going to think I was crazy, that I didn't love her, all these thoughts going through my mind. And when I went over and I said, you know, I have this thing about saving my virginity for marriage, she just looked at me and said,
I want that too.
And it was literally the most freeing, beautiful moment in our relationship in the early years, because it gave us the freedom to know that we wanted to be together, that we loved everything we were doing together, and we didn't have that thing hanging over us about sex. We were able to just be free.
And be so close as friends. We just were getting to experience a lot of things together and be the best friends that we could be for each other.
Yeah,
and so, that's the way we are today, I guess.
Yes. And you teach this you live this legacy. You teach this so beautifully, and it's just written all over your faces and your demeanor, and it rings so true and is so inspirational for all of us. And Betty, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Amy, for giving us this opportunity. We really do. And I guess I need to say that, you know, that it's not all roses and everything, that we have our difficult times, but we have so many tools to get us out of that. And that's really such a blessing, totally a blessing from God.
You guys are such an inspiration. Oh, and as always, Marriage Champions, if you'd like more information about Betty and Ed Coda, you can find us at marriageresources.org and marriageinitiative.org.